Hi everyone, welcome to Shell Sugar Rush. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today I'm going to be sharing with you this delicious honey bun cake. This was requested by my nephew for his 19th birthday. If you saw the Swiss roll cake that I made last year, that was for the same nephew. He loves these types of snacks and always requests a cake along those lines. So this year, going kind of extra, I didn't want to just make the honey bun cake. I wanted to make it in the shape of a honey bun. So if you enjoy things like this, stick around and watch me put it together. Okay, so for our cake batter, we're going to use 1 box of golden yellow cake mix. And I've already got that in my bowl here. And we're going to use 1 stick of salted butter at room temperature. Along with 4 eggs. And 1 cup of sour cream. And 1/2 cup of canola oil. And we're gonna give that a good mix for 1 to 2 minutes to get it nice and incorporated and relatively fluffy. Okay, now I'm gonna give this just a scrape down just to make sure everything is off the bottom and make sure everything is nicely incorporated. Okay, so we're going to bring in our pan now, and I have a 9x13 pan. It's already sprayed and lined with parchment paper, and I'm going to be doing it in this pan because my nephew, like I said, wanted or requested a honey bun cake for his birthday. So I'm going to go a little extra with it, and I wanted to make it in this pan because I want to carve it into the shape of a honey bun. So we're going to go ahead and get our batter in here. And we're gonna start with about half of the batter, or it doesn't have to be exactly half. What I wanna do really is just make sure I cover the bottom really well, and then we'll worry about the top. But we're gonna go ahead and get half of this batter in here, and you wanna make sure it gets all over the bottom, all the way to the corners. We don't wanna see the bottom of the pan at all. Okay, and at this point you kind of shake it around a little bit. I don't like to shake it before I spread it out just because that parchment paper might tend to move around and not stay in the bottom real well. So we're just going to shake it around, kind of even it out as good as you can. You can tap it if you want to. And now we're going to take 1 cup of light brown sugar along with 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I have mixed this up really well. And we're going to take this now, we're just going to spread it all over that part of the cake. And you want a nice generous covering for this. Okay, that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do here is just, you see how I'm going to reserve just a little bit to sprinkle on the top of the cake. So now we're going to go ahead and get the rest of this batter on here, and this is pretty, well, I wouldn't say pretty difficult, but it's a little hard to spread on top of the sugar. So what I like to do is make sure I spread it all over as I'm putting it on there, kind of spread it out as much as possible, and that way when you need to get it level and spread it the rest of the way, it's not so much spreading to have to do on top of that sugar. So we're going to just make sure we get it everywhere we can get it, definitely, especially around the edges. Because like I said, it's easier to do it this way than pour it all in the middle and have to worry about spreading it out. You will move all that sugar and cinnamon around doing that. And you want to try to get it all in there. Now, what I'm going to do here, now that I've got all my cake batter in, is I'm going to take a small offset spatula and just gently push it around. And I'm going to push it around to the edges first because I want to make sure I get those edges closed up against the pan. And now that we've got all that spread out, what we're going to do is take our spatula and just kind of weave it back and forth in our batter. And this is just going to kind of swirl that sugar and cinnamon real good through that cake. Now I went one way, so now I'm going to go back the other way. So we want to have it all through there. And then of course I'm going to just make sure again that my top is flat and everything is covered. Okay, and that looks pretty good, huh? Just gonna level it out real nice. Okay, and this reserve that we kept back, I'm just gonna sprinkle, and I just want a light coating on the top, but I'm gonna tell you, this actually bakes up really pretty because it gives you a kind of a light brown covering on the top of your cake once it's baked, and it just looks really pretty. It kind of gives it more of that honey bun look once it comes out. Okay, there you see a little goes a long way. So, all right. So let's get all our sugar in there. All right, now we're gonna pop this in the oven on 350 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes, but we'll be checking it for doneness, and then I'll bring it back and show you how it looks. Okay, look how beautiful this is. Now, our cake went 30 minutes, and you can see here, I told you about that kind of pretty honey bun looking top there, kind of a golden brown, and you can see the cinnamon and sugar. So what we're gonna do now is let this cool completely. If I were just making this right now for my family to eat, I would go ahead and take a skewer, poke some holes all over the top of this, make my icing, and pour it on while it's warm because we love to eat it warm. However, since I am going to be carving it into the shape of a honey bun, I am going to let it cool completely and do that process, okay? So we'll be back for that a little bit later. Okay, so we're ready to carve the cake, and I have a turntable just to put underneath just in case I need that, and I have a wire rack here that I'm going to be using. I'm going to move it to this when I get ready to put the icing on top, so before I put it on the cake board, because I don't want icing all over the cake board. And right now I'm just going to be using a cookie sheet to put the cake on to carve it. So first I'm going to flip it out of here. There we go. And I'm going to take this parchment paper off. And then I am going to flip it onto the cookie sheet. So we have a nice surface for carving. Okay. So I kind of want to see if this is thick enough. I have another one that I did bake, just in case I need to bring it up a little taller. And I think I may want to do that. This one is, to me, I mean, it's still a good size to make a honey bun with, but I really would like a little more height on it. So I'm gonna grab that second one, and I'm gonna actually cut it and just use maybe about half of it to put on top of this. Okay, so I've got kind of the bottom third of the other cake, and doesn't that look just gorgeous with the cinnamon and sugar swirled in it? This smells and tastes delicious, you guys. You have to try this cake. If you have never had one, it will quickly become a favorite in your house. I made one last week, just a kind of round one for us, and put the icing on it. It was still warm, and my daughter and my husband had eaten like 5 pieces by the next morning. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna flip this back off here for a minute. Set that one aside, and now we're gonna actually take this one and slide it onto the pan really carefully. And then we're gonna put this one, we're gonna flip this one on top of it. And I'm just gonna kind of scoot it around here and make sure I've got it even. Okay. And then I'm gonna try to cut out an oval here to start our cinnamon roll. So, or our honey bun. So wish me luck. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop with the carving there and go ahead and cover it with the icing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Just don't want to carve too much off. And I may have carved a little bit too much already. And you know what? This is going to make some awesome cake piles too. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this onto back onto a cooling rack here. This can get a little messy. Okay, so I'm just gonna clean up my area a little bit, and we're gonna make some icing for this. Okay, so we've got a few things here. I've got a pan. This is a jelly roll pan, and this fits nicely right in there. So we're gonna use that. So I'm gonna slide that over a little bit. We're going to use the jelly roll pan to catch our extra icing. And I have a large measuring cup here. This one is actually a 4-cup measuring cup. And we've got some powdered sugar, a little bit of heavy cream. I might need to grab another one because this one's pretty low, but it might be enough. Some light corn syrup and some vanilla. So we're going to start with I'm going to put 3 cups. Normally, if I'm making a cinnamon roll cake, I would put 2 cups of icing sugar in here, but I'm going to put 3 cups because I want to make sure I have plenty of extra to give this a nice coating all the way around the sides. So we're going to put 3 cups in here. This is going to be a lot. I probably have some left over, but that's okay because I still have that other half sheet cake in there. So now we're going to add, I'm going to add about, normally I would put 1 tablespoon in my 2 cups. So I'm going to go with about 1.5 tablespoons for this. I like to add the light corn syrup because it gives it just a really nice shine or sheen to it. And it also kind of makes it a little more, I guess, kind of a little bit more gummy, if that's probably not a good word to describe it, but just to help keep it together, and because you want a good coat on that cinnamon roll. You don't want it all to fall off. And that's, of course, the vanilla, just a teaspoon of vanilla. And then, of course, we're going to add some heavy cream. And I'm going to start with just a little bit to get it going. And then we'll add more heavy cream until we have it to the consistency we want. So I'm just going to use a spatula here and start mixing this together. And you can see it's still pretty powdery, so of course we're going to add to it. And I'm not sure exactly how much I'm going to use here. Like I said, this is, you know, I just do it until it gets to the consistency that I want it to. But it's definitely several tablespoons of heavy cream, just to kind of give you an idea on, you know, direction there. So more. And I'm going to go ahead and use the rest of that, and then I'll grab another one if I need to. And you can see here it's starting to become more fluid. But I definitely don't want it that thick, so I am going to grab some more heavy cream. Okay, and I think we have it to a pretty good consistency. That's pretty fluid, still has some thickness to it, but at the same time it's, you know, movable, so it will run on the cake. And of course we can use a spatula to help spread it around if we need to as well. So, all right, let's go ahead and glaze this honey bun cake. Okay guys, and there we go. No icing left over. So that was the perfect amount. Okay everyone, so our honey bun cake is complete. Be sure to let me know what you think about this in the comments, and definitely let me know if you decide to make one yourself. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And don't forget, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell, so you'll be notified when I upload more cakes and treats in the future. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you next time.